Ever imagine waking up and like your to-do list is gone? Like poof.
Someone took care of it all, booked your appointments, maybe even, I don't know, prepped your big presentation, all while you slept.
Sounds nice.
Right. Well, that's kind of what we're diving into today. Not the sleeping in part, though I wish,
Sadly.
but the whole AI taking care of things. Except it's not just one AI, it's, well, billions of them.
Yeah, billions. It's not just some far-off sci-fi thing anymore. We're talking about how we work, live, even just like exist day to day, all about to change big time.
So we're talking AI agents, but like billions. That's a lot of bots.
It's a whole different scale than what most people are picturing. Imagine each of those agents, it's like specialized. This one's a whiz at scheduling. That one's analyzing market trends. Another's writing code.
Okay, so it's not just like an army of identical robot clones.
No, definitely not. And that's where it gets interesting. Think back to, say, the really early internet days, like before everyone and their grandma was online.
Those were the days, right?
You had no idea what it would become. Online shopping, social media, so this is kind of like that. All these AI agents, they could spark a whole wave of stuff we haven't even thought of yet. New industries, new ways of living. Wild.
Okay, now you've got me hooked on these new industries. The article mentioned something called AI-driven marketplaces, and I gotta admit, that sounds both cool and kind of confusing.
It's a little mind-bending when you first hear it. Basically, imagine you need something done. Right now, you might hire someone, right? Freelancer or a company, whatever.
Sure.
But in this future, you'd go to this marketplace, but instead of people offering services, it's AI agents. Each one's got their specialty, their own style, even their own pricing.
So it's like competing AI freelancers.
Exactly. You could look at their proposals, see what fits your needs, your budget, the whole deal. It's making things more efficient, more diverse.
Sounds like it could level the playing field in a lot of ways.
Definitely.
But hold on, before we get too caught up in all the amazing possibilities, let's get real for a sec. All those AI agents, all that brain power, it's got to run on something. And that something is a whole lot of electricity.
Oh, yeah. We're talking massive data centers consuming power like you wouldn't believe. Millions of homes worth just to keep the AI lights on, so to speak.
That's kind of mind-blowing. So like this whole future with robot assistants and AI marketplaces,
Yeah.
it's cool, but it's also putting a huge demand on our energy grids.
Exactly. And that's why sustainable energy isn't just some like nice to have anymore. It's essential. We're talking about the future of technology depending on it.
Wow. So our AI-powered future might be solar-powered. That's both very futuristic and very now, all at the same time. Makes you wonder, though, where are all these massive data centers even going to go?
Right. It's not just about sticking them wherever we've got space. You've got to think about who's controlling that data, the security, the whole geopolitical side of things. It's a big deal.
It's like the new space race, but for AI dominance. Kind of makes you think about those sci-fi movies, except it's happening in server farms, not outer space.
Yeah.
But okay, let's zoom in a bit. We keep talking about all these AI agents, these bots, but what's the brains of the operation? The article mentioned something called cognitive architecture, and I'll be honest, that sounds a bit intimidating.
It sounds way more complex than it really is. Imagine like a team of people, right? You wouldn't want everyone with the exact same skills. You need your designers, your engineers, your, I don't know, your accountants all working together.
Right. Different strengths.
Exactly. So cognitive architecture, it's how all these different AI models, each with their own thing they're good at, how they're all organized and connected to solve problems, like way more efficiently than if they were all just doing their own thing.
So instead of one giant AI trying to do it all,
You've got a network, smaller AI agents, each one's a specialist in something.
like a team of experts.
Exactly. Think of it like an orchestra. You've got all
Right.
these different instruments, right? Each one's got its own sound, its own role, but together,
You get the symphony.
there you go. That's the power of what we call multi-agent systems.
Multi-agent systems.
Yeah.
So we've gone from solo artist to a full-on AI orchestra. I like it. But this article also mentioned open source AI. What's that mean for all this? Like, could anyone build their own AI orchestra if they wanted to?
It's definitely a possibility down the road, and that's kind of a big deal. It's like democratizing access to this tech. Small businesses, startups, even just individuals could potentially get their hands on some pretty powerful AI tools.
That's kind of exciting.
It is. But, and there's always a but, right? We got to think
Okay.
about the flip side.
Things getting out of hand.
Exactly. Like any powerful tool, there's potential for misuse. That's why having like ethical frameworks, guidelines for developing this stuff, it's super important.
It's like we're on the edge of this whole new world and we're still figuring out the rules of the road as we go.
And those rules, they're going to determine a lot about what that world looks like. Not just the risks, but how these advancements benefit everyone.
Okay, so we've talked about the power of this tech, but let's bring it back to us regular folks for a sec. We started by imagining this world where AI handles our to-do lists, maybe even makes our breakfast. Sounded pretty good back then.
Still does. But it's just scratching the surface, honestly.
So it's not just about convenience, it's about...
It's about how we solve problems, how industries change, even how we think about what's possible. It's huge.
And that brings us to a final thought for everyone listening. If these AI agents, if they really do become as normal as, like, smartphones are now, what does that mean for us? What skills matter most in a world where AI is everywhere? Makes you wonder what the future holds for, well, humans, right? If AI is handling so much, what makes us important?
It's a big question, for sure. But I think it's also an opportunity. Like, if we can figure out how to use AI responsibly, to work with it instead of seeing it as competition, we could accomplish amazing things. Solve problems we thought were impossible.
We've covered so much ground in this deep dive. Started with billions of AI agents, ended up talking about, the future of humanity. It's a lot to take in.
It is, but that's kind of the point, isn't it? This isn't just some tech thing happening in a vacuum. It's about us, the choices we make now about how we want to develop and use AI. Those choices, they'll shape the future more than we realize.
And on that note, let's hear from you. What are your thoughts on all this? Head over to social media, use hashtag AI Deep Dive. Tell us what stood out to you, what questions you still have.
And don't forget to check out the show notes for all the articles we talked about, plus some extra resources if you want to really go down the rabbit hole on AI agents, cognitive architecture, all that good stuff.
That's it for this deep dive. Thanks for listening, and until next time, stay curious out there.